Now I'm about to do something fun that I encourage all new tyers out there to do, and that's sit down at the bench, try some new materials, play around with some designs, and really just have fun. And I picked up a new material last week that I've never used before. It's Spirit River's UV2 Diamond Brite dubbing. Now it's obviously a synthetic, kind of like an ice dub, but it's got just a hint of ultraviolet in it. Now I've never seen a pattern that specifically calls for this stuff, so I just sat down and played around with it. But the first thing I had to decide was, what kind of bug could I make with this? So I'm thinking pretty much just a nymph. Maybe the thorax of a beadhead caddis pupa type bug, or just tie the whole body out of it and call it an attractor fly. So that's what I did today. What you're about to see is just a generic no-name nymph, kind of a pupa type bug that I'm tying for my panfish box. So as a panfish fly that I want it to be a slow sinker, and I'm probably going to be fishing it as a dropper under some kind of foam body terrestrial, I wanted it to be pretty light, and I went with a brass silver bead instead of a tungsten, and I didn't put any extra weight on it. Now if I was tying this for trout, I probably would have used a tungsten bead, or at least put some extra weight on it, and probably gone with one of the more natural colors. Definitely not this bright blue that you're about to see me tie. But again, I was just playing around, having some fun, and coming up with patterns and crazy colors can be kind of fun. So there it is in the vise, just a generic unnamed nymph. I'm tying for panfish. It's kind of a pupa style with a little bit of partridge and then some of this Diamond Brite dubbing. Now I'm tying this on a size 14. This is a 2.4 millimeter bead, not a tungsten bead. I don't want this thing to be too heavy. And you know, any kind of scud hook or clink hammer hook I think is going to look fine right here. And I'm going to use some black thread. I'll catch it in right behind the bead and take it back to where the barb would have been. Now the partridge I'm using, it's just one small to medium sized feather. I'm going to use this for the tail and for the collar hackle. And for the tail, I just pulled off 3 or 4 fibers from each side, you know, toward the top, the longer ones. So let's catch it in back here. Now one thing I like to do on a fly like this, just lift all of these up, put a wrap up under them, try to prop that tail up just a little bit. Now leave your thread in the back. Let's put some wax on it. Now let's put down a 3 or 4 inch noodle of this Diamond Brite. And again, since I'm tying this for my panfish box, I'm getting a little crazy and going with blue. If I was tying this for trout, I would probably put a little weight on it, and then maybe gone with a natural color, some olive, maybe a brown or black. But this is a panfish, I'm going with blue, and let's just wrap this up, get it a little bit behind that bead. And I'm gonna need just a little bit more. Okay, that might be a little more than I wanted, but I think we'll be fine. Now go ahead and take that same feather, create a little tie-in point right here, catch it in right behind the bead. Snip this front tip off. Now I'm going to take my hackle pliers because I don't have a whole lot of feather to work with. And I'm going to put 2 wraps if I can get them. Now you might be tempted to pull all these back and get a little bit more of a swept back look, but I think I'm going to leave them sticking out, kind of go with a spider look. So I've got enough room for my whip finish. So do we have any cleanup? Nah, for a fly like this, I'm going to put it in my box, call it good to go. So just a little panfish, pupa style fly tied with partridge and diamond bright. So a pretty neat little pattern. I think it might work for some panfish. Now I appreciate y'all watching. Take care and we'll see you next time.